Chapter 14 13 Days Until Christmas. "So I'll pick you up in an hour?" Lucy's mom asked as Lucy opened the door of their car on Friday after school. A frigid breeze slipping in from the parking lot of Pine Forest Christmas trees. "I think that's enough time," Lucy said, stepping out and then holding the door for Valentine, who hopped out next to her. "But I'm not sure." "I don't mind waiting," her mom said. "We want to be careful not to tire Valentine." "Right," Lucy agreed, leaning down to rub her dog's head. The vet had okayed an hour or two of activity for Valentine, and Lucy wanted to be sure to follow the orders carefully so that Valentine could continue to heal. "Thanks, Mom." "Happy to do it," her mom said. "It's about 10 steps to the front gate, but it looks like your friend is coming to get you." "See you later," Lucy said, closing the car door and following as Valentine began leading her to the gate. "Hey, Lucy," Cammy said, her boots crunching in the snow. "Hi," Lucy said. She heard a rustling sound, most likely Cammy waving to her mom as she drove away. "So we'll wait for Joe and then—" "Oh, wow!" Lucy was about to ask what had Cammy so excited when she smelled clean gym socks, fried eggs, and hot cocoa, and heard Max's laugh. "Surprised?" he asked as he came up to them. "I can't believe you're here!" Cammy exclaimed joyfully. "Yeah, well, my angel tree wish came true, so I figured I owed it to GB to be part of your big thank you celebration," Max said. Max always sounded cheerful, but today his voice was positively exuberant. "What wish?" Cammy asked. "Oh, no big deal, just a whole new house," Max said. He was making light of it, but Lucy could hear that he was bouncing on his toes as he spoke. Cammy squealed in delight, and Lucy heard the soft sounds of her hugging Max. "Oh," Lucy exclaimed, suddenly remembering her dad's new volunteer job, "I think my dad is going to be helping out." "Awesome," Max said. "Tell him I said thanks." "That's so cool," Cammy said, giving her arm a squeeze. "And here's someone that's totally not cool," Max muttered. Lucy did not need to smell the approaching mix of laundry soap and lemon cleaner to know that Joe had arrived. "So we're all here," Cammy said cheerfully. "Let's go." Lucy followed as they walked through the gate of Pine Forest. People around them were laughing, and there was the feathery sound of families loading up Christmas trees to take home. Lucy had been coming here with her parents for years, so she knew that just inside the fenced-off area where pre-cut trees were stacked, there was a small wooden cabin where people could buy hot cider or wreaths when they paid for their trees, or just warm up before venturing out to the acres beyond, which were thick with growing pine trees of every shape and size. "So where should we start looking?" Max asked. "We should ask the owner if he knows anything about GB, Joe said. "If Mr. St. Pierre knows anything, he won't say," Max said coolly. Lucy could feel Cammy tense next to her. "But maybe he'll say something that gives us a clue," Joe persisted. "That's a great idea," Cammy said quickly. Max sighed, but he didn't put up a fight. Lucy heard Mr. St. Pierre's fingers tapping on the old-fashioned cash register as they walked into the heat of the little cabin that smelled of cinnamon-laced cider. Lucy took advantage of the moment to rest Valentine, who was panting slightly. Joe's sneakers padded closer to the wood stove, while Cammy stayed next to Lucy, and Max wandered around, unable to keep still. "How can I help you kids?" Mr. St. Pierre asked in his low voice a few moments later. Lucy's parents had described his wild mustache and flowing beard that had half the kids under 6 thinking he was Santa Claus, a role he often played at the town of Christmas gala. Lucy hesitated, wondering how to explain their mission, but Cammy spoke up right away. "We're hoping to find out some information about the person behind the angel tree," she said, getting right to it. "I'm sorry, kids, but I can't help you with that," Mr. St. Pierre said. "We know it's supposed to be a secret," Cammy said, "but this is important. We want to do something to thank the person who's been working so hard for all these years." "I wish I could help, I truly do," he said, "but I have no idea who does it. Every year I get a hand-delivered letter that there's going to be a pickup for a tree that's already been selected. They must come in the middle of the night to choose the tree, mark it with a ribbon, and then pay a trucker to come get it, and put it up in town. And I bet the trucker knows even less than I do. We're both paid in cash, and that's the end of it. Every year, that's how it goes." "Do you still have the letter?" Lucy asked. "No, it went out with the recycling weeks ago," Mr. St. Pierre said. A bell jingled as the door to the cabin opened and a family came in. 2 little kids running ahead and giggling. Lucy and Cammy turned to go, but then Joe spoke up. "Can you tell us what section of the forest the tree was taken from this year?" he asked. "Sure," Mr. St. Pierre said. "And to be honest, I'm not sure anyone else has been back in that section. It's where we have our biggest trees, and we usually just sell a handful of those every year." "And you haven't sold any others yet?" Cammy asked, excited. "Nope," Mr. St. Pierre said, "not yet." There was the crinkling sound of paper as he handed something to Cammy. "Here's a map. The section you're interested in is all the way back there," he said. Lucy assumed he was pointing to a spot on the map, so it doesn't get much traffic. "This is great," Cammy said. "Thanks so much, Mr. St. Pierre." The others echoed their thanks and headed back out into the cold for the trek to the far section of the forest. Valentine seemed energetic and happy as they pranced, and she pranced carefully through the snow, leading Lucy on a wide, clear path through the rows and rows of balsam fir, Scotch pine, blue spruce, and white pine trees, each with a slightly different scent. At first they followed paths made by trails of footprints, the snow packed down tight under Lucy's feet. But by the time they reached their destination, the snow was untouched and harder to navigate. "No one's been here since last night's snow," Max said, his boots crunching on the crusty top layer, then breaking through with a crackle. "That's good," Cammy said. She had slowed down to stay next to Lucy and Valentine. "Except that any clues GB left last week would probably be covered," Max said. "Not necessarily," Joe said, clearly eager to disagree with Max. "What do you know about it?" Max snapped. "Is there even snow where you come from?" "Since we're here, let's look around," Cammy interrupted before things could get heated between Max and Joe. "Something might have gotten caught in one of the trees or something. Let's spread out and search." Lucy gave Valentine's lead a light tug, and the dog, who had been resting, struggled to her feet. Lucy knew walking in the high snow was hard for Valentine, and decided she would only cover a little ground. It wasn't like she was going to find a clue anyway. She gave Valentine a free lead and let the dog choose the direction and pace. They walked through evenly spaced trees on a low slope of land. The branches rustled around them, and farther off Lucy could hear Max and Cammy talking and laughing. But then Valentine tensed and picked up her pace. Clearly she had spotted something interesting, and Lucy hoped it wasn't a squirrel out searching for a snack. Valentine was extremely well trained and would never chase a squirrel, but she did like to look at them and yip. It wasn't a squirrel that had caught the lab's attention, though. It was something buried in the snow. Valentine burrowed her snout in, and ice crunching as she dug down, and a moment later she pulled something up, shaking off the snow with a musical clink of the dog's tags on her collar. "What is it, girl?" Lucy asked, holding out her gloved hand. Valentine set the object carefully in Lucy's palm. Lucy took off her glove so she could feel what it was. It was covered with a thin sheet of ice, but as the warmth of Lucy's fingers melted that, it revealed a thick rectangle of leather, about 2 inches wide and 8 inches long. Delighted with her find, she hurried back to the spot where the others were gathering. "I didn't see anything," Cammy was saying gloomily as Lucy and Valentine approached. "I guess it was—" She broke off as Lucy held up the leather strip. "I found something," Lucy said. "Actually, Valentine did. I guess she smelled it or something because she started digging through the snow and came up with this." "What is it?" Cammy asked, as the 3 of them crowded around Lucy and Valentine. "I'm not sure," Lucy said. She had it in her mouth. Take a look, and you will see." "Take a look, and you tell me." Cammy reached over and took the small object from Lucy. Both Joe and Max leaned in for a closer look. "I think it's a bookmark," Cammy said after a moment. "It's swollen from the snow, but you can see carvings in it, like ivy going up the sides." "Do you think it belonged to GB?" Lucy asked. "It seems like a safe bet, doesn't it?" Cammy asked, her voice buoyant. "Guys, we have our first clue." "So what does it tell us?" Joe asked, as they started back toward the parking lot and the road to town. His teeth were nearly chattering. "That GB is a reader, obviously," Max said in a withering tone. "Yeah, but it tells us even more than that," Cammy said, before Joe could respond. "I mean, a fancy bookmark like this tells us that GB really cares about books. Real books, too, not e-books. That's probably a sign that GB's a little older, Lucy said, thinking that her parents read print books while her teenage cousins all read e-books. Good point, Cammy said. And also it could mean it's someone with a huge home library, Lucy said, slipping a little on an icy patch, but righting herself quickly. You would only get a nice bookmark if you had a lot of books to read. They were back in the more populated section of the farm. There were voices around them, and walking was easier now that there were footpaths to follow. Lucy could tell Valentine was tired, and she took a moment to rub the dog's floppy ears. After all, Valentine had been the hero of the day, finding their very first clue. Let's meet up tomorrow for more investigating, Cammy said. The Angel Tree, 10 o'clock. The others agreed, but Valentine was panting again, and Lucy knew she would need to let her dog rest the next day so she would be ready for school on Monday. Lucy wasn't sure if it made sense for her to go along tomorrow without the dog for help. She was pretty sure she'd just drag everything down, with people needing to take care of her instead of looking for more clues. Plus, she had plans to go over to Anya's in the afternoon. But as the others waited for her reply, Lucy changed her mind. Finding GB was important, and Anya would understand. Plus, Lucy had helped find the very first clue, which meant she was being helpful. She was probably worrying over nothing. I'll be there, she said,